Amanda Brooks stared at the blue screen in front of her. The words glowed bright against the dark walls of her small office. She read them again, hoping they would change. They did not. Match found. Compatibility rating, 99.7%. Partner assigned. Lyra Moonwhisper of Sylvandor. Mission type Joint Research Expedition. Departure 7 days. Amanda pushed back in her chair. The metal legs scraped against the floor. She had been working on the research station New Horizon for 3 years. In all that time, the area system had never picked her for anything. Now it wanted to send her away with an elf she had never met. The door to her office slid open with a soft hiss. Captain Maya Stone walked in, her brown hair tied back in a neat bun. Maya was Amanda's best friend and the only person who made life on the station feel normal. "I heard the news," Maya said. She sat down in the empty chair across from Amanda's desk. "The whole station is talking about it." "Great," Amanda said. She rubbed her temples. A headache was starting behind her eyes. "Just what I wanted. Everyone's staring at me." Maya leaned forward. "Come on, Amanda. This is good news. The area system never makes mistakes. If it says you and this elf are compatible, then you are." Amanda looked at her friend. Maya always tried to see the bright side of things. It was one of the reasons Amanda liked her so much. But right now, Maya's cheerfulness felt wrong. "I don't want a partner," Amanda said. "I like working alone. I like my research. I like my quiet lab where no one bothers me." "When was the last time you left this station?" Maya asked. Amanda thought about it. She could not remember. The months all blended together here. Lab work, reports, sleep, repeat. It was safe. It was predictable. "That's not the point," Amanda said. Maya stood up and walked to the small window. Outside, stars dotted the black of space. The Centauri system's twin suns were just visible in the distance. "The mission is to Kepler 442b, Maya said, reading from her tablet. "They found ruins there. Old ones. The Science Council thinks they might be from the Void Builders." Amanda felt her heart skip. The Void Builders were a mystery that had puzzled scientists for decades. They had vanished long before humans reached the stars. All that remained were strange ruins on dead worlds and technology that no one could understand. "Void Builder ruins?" Amanda asked. Maya smiled. She knew she had Amanda's attention now. "The energy readings are off the charts. Whatever is down there, it's still active after thousands of years." Amanda stood up and walked to her bookshelf. She pulled out a thick book about ancient civilizations. The cover was worn from years of reading. "I've studied the Void Builders my whole career," Amanda said. "If there really are intact ruins, then this is the chance of a lifetime." Maya finished. Amanda set the book down and looked at the screen again. The elf's name was still there. Lyra Moonwhisper. Even the name sounded strange to Amanda's ears. She had met a few elves before but never worked closely with one. They were tall and graceful with pointed ears and eyes that seemed to see too much. Most humans found them beautiful. Amanda found them unsettling. "What do you know about elves?" Amanda asked. Maya shrugged. "They're smart. They live a long time. They like trees and magic and all that mystical stuff. Why?" "No reason," Amanda said, but she was thinking. Elves were also secretive. They kept to their own worlds and rarely shared their technology with other species. "What would an elf want with Void Builder ruins?" The computer chimed. A new message appeared on the screen. Amanda opened it and found a video file. She pressed play. The image showed a woman with silver hair that fell past her shoulders. Her ears came to sharp points, and her eyes were the color of deep forest green. She wore a simple white robe that seemed to glow in the soft light. "Dr. Brooks," the elf said. Her voice was musical, like wind through leaves. "I am Lyra Moonwhisper. I have reviewed your research, and I am pleased that Area has chosen us to work together. I believe we will make an excellent team." The elf smiled, showing perfect white teeth. Something about the smile made Amanda uncomfortable, though she could not say why. "I have already begun preparations for our journey," Lyra continued. I will arrive at your station in 3 days with my equipment and security detail. I look forward to meeting you in person. The video ended. Amanda stared at the blank screen. Security detail? Maya asked. Since when do scientists need security? Since never, Amanda said. Unless they're not really scientists. Maya raised an eyebrow. You think she's lying? Amanda did not answer. She was thinking about the elf's eyes. They had looked right at the camera, right at Amanda, but they had seemed cold, empty, like a predator watching prey. I need to do some research, Amanda said. About the ruins, about elves. Maya left Amanda alone in her office. Amanda turned to her computer and began typing. She pulled up files about elven culture, history, and politics. Most of it was basic, information that everyone knew. Elves lived on forest worlds. They valued harmony with nature. They had advanced technology but preferred to keep it secret. But Amanda dug deeper. She found reports from human diplomats who had visited elven worlds. She read about trade disputes and territorial claims. She learned about the Elven High Council and their policies toward other species. The more she read, the more worried she became. Elves were not the peaceful tree huggers that most humans believed them to be. They were calculating and ambitious. They saw other species as either useful or dangerous. Nothing in between. Amanda found a report from 5 years ago. A human research team had disappeared while studying ruins on an elven border world. The elves claimed they had never arrived. But a smuggler had reported seeing elven ships in the area around the same time. The case was never solved. Amanda leaned back in her chair. Her hands were shaking slightly. She looked at the message from Arya again. 99.7% compatibility. The system was supposed to be perfect. It analyzed genetics, psychology, and personality to find ideal matches. But what if someone had found a way to trick it? Amanda's computer chimed again. This time it was a message from the station commander. All her research would be transferred to the mission ship tomorrow. Her lab would be reassigned while she was gone. There was no choice in the matter. Arya had spoken. Amanda closed her eyes and tried to calm her racing thoughts. Maybe she was, being paranoid. Maybe Lyra really was just a scientist who wanted to study ancient ruins. Maybe the security detail was just a precaution. But as she sat alone in her office, surrounded by the cold metal walls of the station, Amanda could not shake the feeling that she was walking into a trap. Outside her window, the stars watched silently. In 3 days, the elf would arrive. In 7 days, they would leave for Kepler 442b. Amanda hoped she would live to regret accepting the mission. The planet Kepler 442b looked dead from space. Its brown surface was covered with dust and broken rocks. No clouds moved across its sky. No oceans reflected the light from its distant sun. Amanda pressed her face against the window of the transport ship and wondered what secrets lay hidden beneath all that emptiness. Not much to look at, is it? Said Dr. Lisa Chen, Amanda's research assistant. Lisa was young and eager, with short black hair and glasses that always seemed to be sliding down. Her nose. The most important discoveries often come from the most unlikely places, said Lyra from across the cabin. Amanda looked at the elf. 3 days on the ship together had not made her feel any better about their partnership. Lyra was polite and intelligent, but something felt wrong. She asked too many questions about human technology and not enough about the ruins they were supposed to study. The landing site is just ahead, announced Commander Kai Thornfield from the pilot's seat. He was Lyra's security chief, a tall elf with silver armor and cold blue eyes. Amanda had counted 12 other elven soldiers on the ship. That seemed like a lot of security for a simple research mission. The ship shook as it entered the planet's atmosphere. Amanda grabbed her seat as they dropped through thin clouds toward the surface. She could see the ruins now, spread across a wide valley between 2 mountain ranges. They were bigger than she had expected. Much bigger. Massive stone. Towers rose from the ground like the bones of some giant creature. Strange symbols covered their surfaces, glowing with a faint blue light. Between the towers, she could see smaller buildings and what looked like roads or pathways. Impressive, Lyra said. She was recording everything with a small device. The energy readings from orbit did not do this justice. The ship landed with a soft thud. Amanda felt her stomach settle as the artificial gravity adjusted. She looked out the window again and saw something that made her heart race. The symbols on the nearest tower were changing. They flickered and shifted like living things responding to their presence. "Did you see that?" Amanda asked Lisa. "See what?" Amanda looked again, but the symbols had stopped moving. They glowed steady and blue, just like before. Maybe she had imagined it. The cargo bay doors opened with a hiss. Amanda put on her environmental suit and checked her equipment one last time. The air outside was breathable, but full of dust that could damage their instruments. "Remember," Lyra said as they prepared to leave the ship, "we are here to study and document. Do not touch anything unless you are certain it is safe." Amanda nodded, but she was watching Commander Thornfield. He was giving orders to his soldiers, in the Elven language. Amanda did not speak Elven, but she recognized military terms when she heard them. Words like secure, control, and eliminate. They stepped out onto the planet's surface. The ground was hard and cracked, covered with a thin layer of red dust. The air smelled of metal and something else Amanda could not identify. Something old. "The main complex is this way," Lisa said, checking her scanner. "I'm reading massive energy signatures from the central tower." They walked through the ruins in single file. Amanda was amazed by what she saw. The buildings were made from a black stone that seemed to absorb light. The strange symbols were everywhere, carved deep into walls and doorways. Some were as small as her hand. Others were taller than a person. "The preservation is remarkable," Lyra said. She was taking samples of the stone with a small laser tool. "These ruins must be at least 10,000 years old, yet they show no signs of weathering." Amanda knelt beside a fallen pillar and ran her gloved hand over its surface. The stone was smooth and warm even through her suit. The symbols seemed to pulse under her touch. "Lisa," she called, "are you getting any energy readings from this?" Lisa walked over with her scanner. She frowned at the display. "That's strange. The scanner shows massive energy output, but only when you're touching it." Amanda pulled her hand away. The scanner reading dropped to 0. "Try touching it yourself," Amanda said. Lisa placed her hand on the stone. Nothing happened. The scanner remained silent. "Interesting," Lyra said. She had been watching from a few feet away. "It seems the ruins respond to you specifically, Dr. Brooks." Amanda felt a chill that had nothing to do with the planet's thin atmosphere. Why would ancient ruins respond to her touch? What made her special? "We should move on," Commander Thornfield said. His hand rested on the weapon at his side. "This area is not secure." They continued toward the central tower. As they walked, Amanda noticed more things that made her uneasy. The elven soldiers were spreading out, taking positions around the ruins. They moved like they were preparing for a fight, not protecting a research team. And Lyra kept looking at Amanda with those cold green eyes, like she was studying a lab specimen. The entrance to the central tower was a massive archway covered in symbols. Unlike the others, these symbols were moving constantly, flowing like water across the stone surface. "Remarkable," Lisa breathed. "The energy output here is off the charts." Amanda approached the archway slowly. As she got closer, the symbols began to glow brighter. They pulsed in rhythm with her heartbeat. "Dr. Brooks," Lyra said sharply, "perhaps we should proceed with caution." But Amanda was already reaching toward the archway. She could not help herself. Something was calling to her, drawing her forward like a magnet. The moment her fingers touched the stone, the world exploded into light. Amanda found herself standing in a vast chamber filled with impossible machinery. Tubes of light ran along the walls like veins, pulsing with energy. In the center of the room stood a pillar of pure crystal that reached from floor to ceiling, but she was not alone. A figure stepped out of the shadows. It was tall and graceful, with skin like polished obsidian and eyes that glowed with inner fire. It wore robes that seemed to be made of starlight. "Welcome, daughter of the void," the figure said. Its voice echoed inside Amanda's head. We have been waiting for you to return." Amanda tried to speak, but no words came out. She tried to move, but her body would not obey. "You carry the blood of the builders," the figure continued. "The blood of those who shaped the stars and carved paths through the darkness between worlds. Your kind scattered when the Great War ended, but you have not forgotten what you are." Images flashed through Amanda's mind. Massive ships sailing between stars. Weapons that could destroy planets. A war that raged across the galaxy for 1,000 years. And at the center of it all, a race of beings who looked almost human, but were something much more. "The others seek to use you," the figure said. "They know what you are, even if you do not. They have brought you here to unlock what we left behind. Do not let them succeed." The vision shattered like glass. Amanda found herself on her knees outside the tower, gasping for air. Lisa was kneeling beside her, checking her vital signs. Lyra stood a few feet away, her face pale with excitement. "What did you see?" Lyra demanded. Amanda looked up at the elf. In that moment, she understood everything. The mission, the compatibility rating, the security detail. It was all a lie. "Nothing," Amanda said. "I saw nothing." But Lyra's eyes told a different story. The elf knew Amanda was lying. And from the way Commander Thornfield was speaking into his communicator, Amanda realized their real mission was just beginning. As night fell over the ruins, Amanda huddled close to Lisa near their camp. The elven soldiers had set up a perimeter around the central tower. They were not protecting the research team anymore, they were guarding their prize. "Something's wrong," Lisa whispered. "The energy readings have been increasing all day. It's like the ruins are waking up." Amanda nodded. She could feel it too. A presence in the ruins, ancient and powerful, stirring after centuries of sleep. And somehow, she was connected to it. In the distance, one of the elven soldiers reported something to Commander Thornfield. Amanda could not hear the words, but she saw the expression on his face. Fear. Something was coming. The sky above Kepler 442b tore open like ripped fabric. Amanda watched in horror as something massive pushed through the tear in space. It was not a ship like anything she had ever seen. This thing was alive. Organic curves twisted around metal, bones. Pulsing veins of light ran along its dark surface. It was beautiful and terrible at the same time. "What is that?" Lisa whispered. The bioship was easily 5 miles long. It hung in the sky like a sleeping giant, blotting out the stars. As Amanda watched, smaller ships began to emerge from openings along its sides. They moved like insects, swarming toward the planet's surface. Commander Thornfield was shouting orders in the elven language. His soldiers ran to defensive positions around the ruins. But Amanda could see the fear in their eyes. Whatever this thing was, they had not expected it. "We need to get back to the ship," Amanda said, grabbing Lisa's arm. "Wait," Lyra said. She was standing perfectly still, staring up at the bioship. "This changes everything." "What do you mean?" Amanda asked. Before Lyra could answer, the ground beneath their feet began to shake. The symbols on the nearby towers flared with brilliant light. The ruins were responding to the presence of the ship in orbit. One of the smaller ships landed near the central tower with a wet, organic sound. It was shaped like a giant beetle, with a shell that gleamed like black oil. Openings appeared along its sides and things began to emerge. Amanda's breath caught in her throat. The creatures were like nothing in any textbook. They walked on two legs like humans, but their skin was the color of deep space. Chitinous plates covered their bodies like natural armor. Their faces were hidden behind masks that pulsed with the same light as their ship. But it was the figure that emerged last that made Amanda's blood turn to ice. She was tall and graceful, moving with the fluid motion of a predator. Her skin was pale as starlight, and her hair flowed behind her like liquid silver. She wore robes that seemed to be cut from the fabric of night itself. When she looked in Amanda's direction, her eyes burned with ancient intelligence. "The Hive Queen," one of the elven soldiers whispered. Sathara raised one hand, and the soldier who had spoken simply collapsed. There was no sound, no weapon, no visible cause. He was alive one moment and dead the next. "I am Zathara of the Swarm," she said. Her voice carried across the ruins without her raising it. "I have come to reclaim what was stolen from my people." Commander Thornfield stepped forward, his weapon drawn. "You have no claim here. This planet is under the protection of the Galactic Federation." Zathara looked at him the way a person might look at an annoying insect. "Your Federation is nothing to me, elf. You wake things that should remain sleeping. You dig in graves that are not yours to disturb." She gestured toward the central tower. "This place belonged to our enemies. The Void Builders murdered my people and scattered our empire across the stars. Now their children return to play with weapons they do not understand." Amanda felt the blood drain from her face. "Children?" Zathara's burning gaze fixed on her. "Yes, little human. Did you think your dreams were random? Did you think the ruins respond to your touch by accident?" "That's impossible," Lyra said, but her voice was shaking. "Humans are a young species. They barely had fire when the Void Builders vanished." "Humans are not what they seem," Zathara said. She began walking toward them, her warriors flanking her on both sides. "They carry the genetic legacy of our ancient enemies, scattered survivors who hid among primitive worlds, breeding with the local species until their true nature was almost forgotten." Amanda's mind raced. The vision in the tower, the figure that had called her Daughter of the Void. It was all starting to make sense, and she did not like what it meant. "The elves know this," Zathara continued. "Why do you think they brought her here? Why do you think their artificial intelligence chose her as compatible? They need someone with Void Builder blood to unlock the weapons." Commander Thornfield raised his weapon. "Enough talk. You will surrender or be destroyed." Zathara laughed. The sound was like breaking crystal. "You would threaten me with your toys?" She raised her hand again. This time Amanda could see what happened. Energy flowed from Zathara's fingers like invisible lightning. It struck the elven commander, and he screamed as his body simply came apart. The other elven soldiers opened fire. Their energy weapons lit up the night sky, but the beams bent around Zathara like water around a stone. She walked through their attack as if it were nothing more than rain. "Run!" Amanda shouted to Lisa. They sprinted toward their transport ship, but Zathara's warriors were already moving to cut them off. The creatures moved faster than anything human, flowing across the ground like liquid shadow. "This way," Lyra called out. She was heading toward a smaller building near the edge of the ruins. "The structure will provide cover." Amanda hesitated. She did not trust Lyra, but there was nowhere else to go. She grabbed Lisa's hand and followed the elf into the ancient building. Inside, the walls were covered with the same glowing symbols they had seen everywhere else. But these were different. They seemed angry, pulsing with red light instead of blue. "Why did you bring us here?" Amanda demanded. Lyra was working frantically with some kind of device. "Because this is the only place on the planet that might protect us from her power." "Her power?" "Zathara is a psychic," Lyra explained. "She can kill with a thought, control minds, see through walls. But these ruins disrupt psychic energy. The Void Builders made sure of that. Outside, they could hear the sounds of battle. Energy. Weapons firing, men screaming, the wet sounds of Zathara's warriors moving through the fight." "You knew this would happen," Amanda said. "You knew she would come." Lyra stopped working and looked at Amanda with guilt in her green eyes. "Not her, specifically. We knew the ruins would attract attention. Ancient sites like this always do. We, the Elven High Council, they have been tracking sites like this across the galaxy, looking for Void Builder technology. To use against humans," Amanda said. Lyra nodded slowly. "Your species is growing too fast, becoming too powerful. The Council believes that within a few centuries humans will dominate the galaxy. They want weapons that can stop you. So they used me. The ARIA system was compromised years ago. We programmed it to find humans with Void Builder genetics and pair them with Elven agents. You were supposed to unlock the weapons and then you would kill me." Lyra's silence was answer enough. Lisa had been listening to all of this with growing horror. "Amanda, we have to get out of here." But it was too late. The building shook as something massive landed on the roof. Chunks of stone fell from the ceiling. The red symbols on the walls flared brighter. A section of the wall simply melted away. Zathara stepped through the opening, her silver hair flowing around her like a halo. Her warriors followed behind her, their weapons ready. "Hiding will not save you," she said. "The Void Builder ruins slow my power, but they do not stop it." She looked at Amanda with something that might have been respect. "You are strong for one so young. Your ancestors' blood runs true in your veins." "I don't understand any of this," Amanda said. "You will," Zathara said. "The ruins are teaching you, are they not? Each time you touch them, you remember a little more. Soon you will know what you truly are." She turned to Lyra. "And you, elf, did you really think you could use Void Builder weapons against their own children? Did you think they would not have safeguards?" Lyra backed against the wall. "We studied the technology for decades. We know how it works." "You know nothing," Zathara said. "The Void Builders were not fools. Their weapons require the willing cooperation of their genetic inheritors. Force will not work. Trickery will not work. The human must choose to activate them." She looked back at Amanda. "Which brings us to an interesting problem. The elf wants you to unlock weapons to kill your own people. I want you to leave the weapons, buried forever." "What do you want, daughter of the void?" Amanda looked around the room. Lisa was terrified but trying to hide it. Lyra was calculating, probably planning some new trick. Zathara's warriors stood ready to kill them all, and outside, the ruins waited with their ancient secrets. "I want to understand," Amanda said finally. "I want to know the truth about what happened here, about what I am." Zathara smiled. It was not a pleasant expression. "Then come with me, and I will show you. But know this, once you learn the truth, you cannot unknown it, and the choice you make will determine the fate of every living thing in this galaxy." The walls of the building began to glow brighter. Somewhere in the distance, Amanda could hear ships landing. Human ships coming to investigate the disturbance. The real war was about to begin. The human fleet arrived like thunder across the sky. Amanda watched from the ruins as 12 ships dropped out of hyperspace above Kepler 442b. They were sleek and dangerous, bristling with weapons and painted with the blue and white colors of the Human Defense Force. "That's the Starfire," Lisa said, pointing at the largest ship. "Captain Maya must have called for backup when we stopped reporting in." Amanda felt a mix of relief and fear. Maya was coming to help, but she was flying straight into a war zone. Zathara's bioship still hung in orbit like a sleeping monster. The Hive Queen's warriors controlled half the ruins, and somewhere among the ancient towers, deadly weapons waited to be awakened. "Your friends have arrived," Zathara said. She stood at the center of the main plaza, her silver hair flowing in the planet's thin wind. "Will you call them down to die with you?" Commander Beth Rodriguez's voice crackled over Amanda's communicator. "Dr. Brooks, this is the Starfire. What is your situation down there?" Amanda looked at Zathara, then at Lyra. The elf was watching her with desperate eyes. Whatever plan the Elven High Council had made, it was falling apart. "Beth, stay in orbit," Amanda said into her communicator. "The situation is complicated." "Complicated how?" "We're reading massive energy signatures and unknown ships. Are you under attack?" Before Amanda could answer, Zathara raised her hand. Amanda felt a strange pressure in her mind, like someone trying to push their way into her thoughts. "Tell your fleet to leave," Zathara said. "This is not their fight." "No," Amanda said, pushing back against the mental pressure. "I won't let you hurt them." To her surprise, Zathara stepped back. The pressure in Amanda's mind faded. The Hive Queen looked at her with something that might have been approval. "Strong," she said. "Stronger than I expected. Your Void Builder." Blood is awakening. More ships were arriving in orbit. These ones were different, sleek and silver with graceful lines that could only be elven. Elder Seraphina Starweaver's personal fleet had come to collect their investment. "Now we have a proper war," Zathara said with satisfaction. The communication channel exploded with angry voices, human commanders demanding explanations, elven officers issuing territorial claims. In the middle of it all, Amanda heard Maya's voice. "Amanda, what the hell is going on down there?" Before Amanda could answer, the ground beneath their feet began to shake. The central tower was glowing brighter than ever before. The symbols on its surface were moving faster, spinning like wheels of fire. "The ruins are responding to the psychic pressure," Lyra said. She was scanning the tower with her instruments. "All these minds in one place, all this conflict, it's triggering something." Amanda walked toward the tower. She could feel it calling to her, stronger than ever before. Each step sent waves of energy through the ancient stone. "Don't," Zathara said sharply. "If you activate the weapons now while emotions are running high, you might destroy everything in this system." "Then what do you suggest?" Amanda asked. "Come with me," Zathara said. "Let me show you what your ancestors really built here." She led Amanda, Lisa, and Lyra deeper into the ruins. Her warriors formed a protective circle around them, but Amanda noticed they were nervous. Their eyes kept darting to the glowing symbols on the walls. They entered a building that was partially underground. The walls here were different, smooth and white instead of black stone, and the symbols were moving in patterns that hurt to look at directly. "This is the memory core," Zathara explained. "Your ancestors built it to preserve the truth of what happened here." Amanda placed her hand on the nearest wall. Immediately, the world around her dissolved. She was standing on a ship, looking out at a battle that raged across space. Massive vessels fired weapons that could crack planets. Worlds burned in the distance, and at the center of it all, two species fought with the fury of gods. On one side were the Void Builders. They looked almost human, but their eyes held the light of stars. They commanded technology that bent the laws of physics. On the other side were the Swarm. Zathara's people, but younger and more numerous, their bioships moved like living creatures, adapting and evolving with each attack. "We fought for 1,000 years," Zathara's voice echoed in Amanda's mind. "They were few but powerful. We were many but limited by biology. Neither side could win." The vision shifted. Amanda saw the aftermath of the war, dead worlds floating in space, whole star systems reduced to rubble, and in the ruins of their civilizations, the survivors trying to rebuild. "The Void Builders scattered," Zathara continued. "Some fled to distant galaxies. Others hid among primitive worlds, interbreeding with local species. They became myths, legends, genes sleeping in bloodlines that would not awaken for thousands of years." "And your people?" Amanda asked. "Most died. A few, like me, went into deep sleep to preserve what knowledge we could. We waited for the day when the Void Builders would return." The vision faded. Amanda found herself back in the underground chamber, her hand still pressed against the white wall. But now she understood. The ruins were not just ancient buildings. They were a test. "The weapons here are not meant for conquest," she said slowly. "They're meant to prevent another war like the one that destroyed both your peoples." Zathara nodded. "The Void Builders knew that someday their descendants might meet ours again. They built this place as a safeguard. The weapons will only activate for someone who truly understands the cost of using them, which is why the elves needed a human," Lyra said. She looked sick with understanding. They could never activate the weapons themselves, and any human they forced would never pass the test. "The weapons require a willing choice," Zathara confirmed. "Made with full knowledge of what they can do. Your ancestors were not monsters, human. They were beings who had learned the price of unlimited power." Outside, the sounds of battle were getting closer. Energy weapons lit up the sky as human and elven ships fought above them. Some of the fighting had spilled down to the planet's surface. "They're destroying everything," Lisa said, watching through a crack in the wall. Amanda closed her eyes and reached out with her mind. She could feel the weapons in the central tower waiting for her decision. She could activate them and end the fighting in seconds. The Void Builder technology could disable every ship in orbit without killing a single person, but she could also feel something else. A presence in the weapons, ancient and patient. Her ancestors had built more than just technology into these ruins. They had built wisdom. "There's another way," Amanda said. She turned to Zathara. "You said the weapons require understanding. What if instead of using them, I shared that understanding?" "What do you mean?" Amanda placed both hands on the wall. Energy flowed through her, connecting her to every symbol in the ruins. The memory core isn't just for storing the past, it can project it. She reached out with her mind, touching every consciousness in the system. Human, elf, even Zathara's warriors. And she showed them what she had seen. The vision of the great war spread from mind to mind. Every person in the fleet saw the burning worlds. They felt the despair of civilizations destroyed by their own power. They experienced the regret of survivors who wished they had found another way. The fighting stopped. In orbit above them, the ships held their fire. Commanders who had been ready to destroy each other a moment before now struggled to process what they had seen. "Impossible," Lyra whispered. "You connected thousands of minds across space." "Not me," Amanda said. "My ancestors. They built this place to teach, not to destroy." Zathara was staring at her with something like wonder. "In all my centuries, I have never seen a void builder use their power for peace. Maybe that's because the ones who learned how to make peace were the ones who survived," Amanda said. She activated her communicator. "All ships, this is Dr. Brooks. Stand down, we have a lot to talk about." The crisis was over, but Amanda knew the real work was just beginning. 3 species had almost destroyed each other over weapons that were never meant to be used. Now they had to figure out how to build something better. Outside, the ruins continued to glow softly in the alien night. But the symbols had stopped, their frantic spinning. They pulsed slowly now like a heartbeat, like hope. 6 months later, Amanda stood in her new office on Research Station Unity. Through the large window, she could see ships from 3 different species docked at the station's arms. Human vessels with their clean lines and practical design. Elven, ships that looked like they had grown from living trees. And in the distance, Zathara's bioship waited like a sleeping guardian. A soft chime announced that someone was at her door. "Come in," Amanda called. Lyra entered, carrying a stack of data tablets. The elf looked different now. Her formal robes had been replaced by simple work clothes. Her silver hair was tied back in a practical bun. But the biggest change was in her eyes. The cold calculation was gone, replaced by something warmer. "The latest reports from the joint research teams," Lyra said, setting the tablets on Amanda's desk. "The progress is remarkable." Amanda picked up one of the tablets and scrolled through the data. Teams of humans, elves, and even some of Zathara's. People were working together to study Void Builder technology. Not to weaponize it, but to understand it. To learn from the mistakes of the past. "Any word from the Area investigation?" Amanda asked. Lyra's expression darkened slightly. "The AI has been completely replaced. The new system is simpler, but honest. It matches people based on genuine compatibility, not political manipulation. The old Area system had been corrupted for decades. Elven agents had programmed it to identify humans with Void Builder genetics and pair them with Elven operatives. How many other compatible partnerships had been lies designed to steal ancient secrets? "What about the High Council?" Amanda asked. "Elder, Seraphina has been removed from power. The new leadership is more interested in cooperation than conquest." Lyra paused. "They want to formally apologize to you, and to all humans." Amanda set down the tablet. "Apologies are nice, but actions matter more." It was true. The elves had spent years planning to use humanity's own heritage against them. They had manipulated the Area system, infiltrated research missions, and nearly started a galactic war. Trust would take time to rebuild, but they were trying. Elven scientists were sharing their technology openly for the first time in centuries. Their genetic research had helped identify other humans with Void Builder ancestry, and they had agreed to joint oversight of all ancient site excavations. "Speaking of actions," Lyra said, "I have something for you." She pulled a small device from her pocket. It looked like a crystal wrapped in silver wire. "A communication link. It will let you contact me instantly, no matter where in the galaxy you are. Amanda took the device and felt its warm weight in her palm. Are you going somewhere? The Council wants me to lead a new exploration mission. We've found what might be another Void Builder site in the Andromeda Galaxy. They want someone they trust to make sure we don't repeat our mistakes. Amanda smiled. And they trust you now? They trust that you trust me, Lyra said, which is more than I deserve. Before Amanda could respond, her door chimed again. This time it was Captain Maya Stone, wearing the uniform of Station Unity's security chief. Am I interrupting something? Maya asked. No, Amanda said. Lyra was just telling me about her new assignment. Maya raised an eyebrow. Andromeda, that's a long way from home. Someone has to make sure we don't find any more sleeping queens out there, Lyra said with a slight smile. It was a fair point. Zathara had awakened on Kepler 442b, but she probably was not the only survivor of the ancient war. Other hive queens might be sleeping on distant worlds waiting for someone to disturb the wrong ruins. Speaking of queens, Maya said, she wants to see you. Amanda knew who Maya meant. Zathara had been living on her bioship near the station for months, serving as both guardian and advisor. She rarely left her vessel, but she often called Amanda for discussions about Void Builder technology and the lessons of the past. What does she want now? Amanda asked. She didn't say, but she seemed excited about something. Amanda gathered her things and followed Maya through the station's corridors. Station Unity was still being built, but it was already impressive. Laboratories where humans and elves worked side by side. Libraries filled with shared knowledge from both species. And at the center of it all, a memorial to the billions who had died in the ancient war. Never again, the memorial said in 3 languages. Remember the cost. They took a shuttle to Zathara's bioship. The vessel's interior was unlike anything built by human or elven hands. The walls pulsed with life. Veins of light carried information through organic networks. The air itself seemed alive, responding to their presence. Zathara was waiting for them in what she called her thinking chamber. The Hive Queen sat on a throne that looked like it had grown from the ship's living structure. Her silver hair flowed around her like liquid starlight. Amanda, she said, rising gracefully. Thank you for coming. Maya said you had something important to tell me. Indeed. Zathara gestured to a large organic screen that dominated one wall. My ship has been monitoring subspace communications across this region of the galaxy, and we have detected something concerning. The screen came to life, showing a map of nearby star systems. Several points were flashing red. Ancient sites, Zathara explained. Void Builder ruins like the ones on Kepler 442b. They are all activating simultaneously. Amanda felt her blood turn cold. Activating how? Energy signatures are increasing. Defensive systems are coming online. It is as if they are preparing for something. Maya leaned forward. Preparing for what? Zathara's burning eyes fixed on Amanda. I believe your ancestors built more than just individual test sites. I believe they created a network, and something has triggered it. Amanda studied the map. The flashing points formed a rough circle around this part of the galaxy. If they were all connected, if they were all part of some larger system. A warning. System, she said suddenly. They're not preparing to attack, they're preparing to defend. Defend against what? Maya asked. Zathara's expression grew grim. Perhaps we are about to find out. The screen changed, showing a region of space beyond the galactic rim. There was something there, moving slowly but steadily toward their sector. It was huge, larger even than Zathara's bioship. And it was broadcasting a signal that made the Hive Queen's ship recoil in instinctive fear. Another queen, Zathara whispered. But not one of mine. This is something else. Something that should have died with the old war. Amanda stared at the approaching vessel. After everything they had been through, after all the progress they had made, It seemed the real test was still coming. "How long do we have?" she asked. 6 months, Zathara said. "Maybe less." Amanda turned to Maya. "Get me a secure channel to Earth, Sylvandor, and every major world in the Federation, and contact the research teams at all the ancient sites." "What are you thinking?" Maya asked. "I'm thinking the Void Builders left us more than just weapons and warnings," Amanda said. "They left us each other. Humans, elves, even the swarm. We're all connected to this somehow." She looked back at the screen where the unknown ship continued, its slow approach. Whatever was coming, they would face it together. The way her ancestors should have faced the original war. "Lyra," she said, "you might want to delay that trip to Andromeda." The elf nodded. "I think you're right." Outside the bioship's organic walls, the stars watched in silence. Somewhere among them, ancient machines were awakening after 10,000 years of sleep. The children of the Void Builders were about to face their greatest test. But this time, they would not face it alone. Amanda touched the communication device Lyra had given her. It warmed under her fingers, connecting her to friends and allies across the galaxy. Human, elf, and something that had once been humanity's greatest enemy. The area system had said they were compatible. It had been wrong about the reasons, but perhaps it had been right about the result. They were ready.